All right, this is probably our longest section so far. Not because it's very difficult necessarily, but because it's got a lot of different pieces and graphs take a lot of space. So now we're going to label in graphs. You should have completed reading a graph before coming here. All right, we're going to label the independent and dependent axes. Independent and dependent axes. Independent axes. Axes are your x or your domain. And dependent is y or range. All right. Farmer wants to know the relationship to the amount of fertilizer in kilograms she uses, how tall her corn grows in centimeters. We've got amount of fertilizer and then her units. Don't forget your units. And then corn height and then centimeter units. Okay. So let's look at this first one real quick. Ball is dropped from several inches above the floor in meters. From several distances above the floor in meters. And the height it bounces is then measured in centimeters. Okay. So I'm going to put drop height. And I'm going to call that meters. And I'm going to say bounce height. And I'm also going to call that meters. No, I'm not. I'm going to call that centimeters. Whoops. Bounce height. And we're going to call that centimeters, right? Okay. You need to label the rest of these 4 graphs here. And then we'll go on to titling the graph. All right, you should have labeled your axes. Now we need a title. So from our example from earlier about the corn, we want to know the relationship between the amount of fertilizer and how tall our corn grows. So one title is corn height versus amount of fertilizer. Another one is relationship between corn height and amount of fertilizer used. Okay, no big deal. We're just adding titles. All right, so for graph 1, this is very similar to the one we just did. Ball is dropped from several distances above the floor in meters, and the height it bounces then measured in centimeters. So I'm going to label this one distance dropped. Make sure I'm spelling things right. Oops. Versus bounce height. All right, there you go. Do the same for the rest of them, and then go down to the bottom. It's not quite the bottom, it's just the bottom of my screen. But anyway, all right, what does my scale look like? For each of the scales, the dependent variables have missing variables. Fill in them all. And then this one has independent variables missing, or numbers missing on independent variables, okay? So we're trying to figure out what we're counting by and fill in the blanks, okay? And make sure that you fill in every place there's a line. Like there should be a number here, and a number here, and a number here, and one here, and then in all these places, and in here, and here, and here, and here, okay? Figure out what they're counting by, and then fill it in. So for this one, 1/2, 1, what would be next? 1.5, right? So 1.5. And then another half, and that'd give me to 2.0, and I keep going. Okay, you need to fill in the rest of these. Across the bottom, it's the exact same way. It's just, instead of going up and down, we're on the horizontal axis, right? So 0, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. Oh, it does work, right? Yeah, you saw what I tried, right? 0, 3, 6. Looks like we're counting by 3, so I'm going to try 9, 12, 15, 18 in my head. And it worked out, so those are the numbers I'm going to fill in, right? 9, 12, 15. And then you're going to keep going for the rest of them. And the exact same thing here. Pay attention, that's a decimal. That's a decimal. That is 2.2, okay? Not 22. After you finish labeling your scales, we're going to go look at the intercepts on the lines. You should have graphs that look like these, and you have x, y intercepts and y intercepts, okay? X and y intercepts are points. They are points on the axes, but they are still a point on your graph, all right? So for my y-intercept, I'm looking where this blue line crosses the y-axis, and your line's not blue. I'm sorry, it's gray. But it crosses right here, right? Just like we just talked about, 0.02, 0.04, 0.06, 0.08. So it's skipping, it's counting by 0.2. So one in between would be by 0.1, right? So negative 0.6 to negative 0.08. What's in the middle of that? You got it. Negative 0.07. Thanks for the input. I know that's what you're going to say. All right. So for our y-intercept, my x-coordinate is 0 and negative 0.7. For my x-intercept, my y-coordinate is 0. Okay. Because I don't go up or down any to get to this point. I only go left or right. And this one's right on the grid line. I don't have to figure it out, right? It's negative 1.2. You need to finish the rest of these and then see me for your quiz on labeling a graph. Good luck.